Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the channel, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. Maybe you guys want to see more of these. If you do, let me know in the comments section below, and let me know by dropping a like and subscribing to the channel if you are new. This is mostly franchise content all day, every day, but today we are going to do a top 10 list of the quarterbacks in the league today. I am going to first give you guys some honorable mentions, and I am going to start with basically my number 15 quarterback in the league, and that is Dak Prescott. A lot of people feel like he is better than number 15 in the league, especially Skip Bayless, who is obviously a little skewed as a Cowboy fan. He did have his best season this year with 4,900 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. But Dak Prescott, most people don't realize he had no fourth quarter comebacks, no game-winning drives this year, so it was basically all either Dallas was already on top or he couldn't bring his team back when he needed to, and that is why Dallas wasn't able to beat a playoff team this year, as they lost very close games to the Saints and the Patriots. If they win any of those games, they probably have a much better chance of winning the division, getting to the playoffs, and obviously the biggest loss, the New York Jets. He could have brought his team down on game-winning drives in all of those games, and he failed to do so. There were some other games that they lost, close ones too. The Bears, the Vikings, games that they could have won to get them to the playoffs. He wasn't able to do so, but he does put up some pretty good numbers, including his best numbers this year, so he might be on the upward trend. We'll have to see. This one might be kind of surprising to some people, but I feel like Jared Goff gets kind of a bad rap at times. He has had some really good seasons. 2017 and 2018 in particular were really good years for him. Yes, he took a step back this year with 22 touchdowns and 16 interceptions, but he did throw for 4,600 yards yet again. This guy has consistently thrown for 279 yards a game in his starts. He has 82 touchdowns, 35 interceptions in his very, very young career, in his last 3 seasons, that is. And he has led his team on 7 game-winning drives, 6 fourth-quarter comebacks from 2017 to now. I feel like he definitely still has potential just because he had a bad year this year. I'm not going to take that away from him. He definitely has a chance to be one of the better quarterbacks in the league if he can continue some progression next year. Here's a guy in Ben Roethlisberger who's fallen off of my top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL today list. Obviously, he wasn't able to play much this year at all. He was pretty much hurt in the first or second game, I think, of the year. But he's been a very good quarterback for a very long time. He's been pretty consistent ever since 2011, putting up some big numbers, never putting up more than 16 interceptions. He's thrown for 9,380 from 2018 to 2017. He's been trending very well. He had one of his better seasons in 2018, putting up over 5,000 yards and 34 touchdowns. And he's led his team on 7 game-winning drives, 5 fourth-quarter comebacks. He averages 2 touchdowns or more a game. He's one of only 4 quarterbacks who you will hear about today who has done this. So I still think he can be really good, but obviously injury concerns. We haven't yet to see what he can do without Antonio Brown, and I just think he's still pretty darn good in this league. Another guy I feel can be very underrated at times is Matthew Stafford. He definitely has the skills to be a top 10 quarterback in this league. He's had a little bit of injury concerns, but he is very, very tough. He plays through injuries a lot of the time. This year he got hurt with 21 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. He was having a worse year than the 3 years previous, but he was definitely on pace to lead the Lions to a better record than what they ended up with. He's thrown for over 10,000 yards in those 3 years. He's had 6 game-winning drives and 3 fourth-quarter comebacks, and I feel like he's been pretty consistent for the Lions. Another guy I feel gets a bad rep because he quote-unquote can't win the big game is Kirk Cousins. Now, he did win a big game this year. He won a playoff game on the road, and he had to throw the touchdown pass to get it done. He had to throw the ball down the field as well to get that one done, as he threw a nice long pass to set them up for the Rudolph score. But he threw for 3,600 yards this year, which is the least he has thrown since 2015. But he's also thrown 26 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, which is on par with his touchdown numbers, and less picks. If he can continue trending in that direction, he might be able to find himself on the list of top 10 quarterbacks, as he's pretty close to 2 touchdowns per game and just over a half an interception per game while throwing for about 276 yards a game. Now, he does have 5 game-winning drives and 3 fourth-quarter comebacks in his last 3 seasons, and I feel like this is a quarterback that could be on the upward trend. Now we move ourselves into the actual top 10, and Phillip Rivers is my number 10 quarterback in the NFL. Yes, this year he definitely had one of his worst seasons, as he threw for 23 touchdowns and 20 picks. Last time he threw for over 20 picks was in 2016, where he threw 21 of them, but he threw 33 touchdowns. He did not do that this time around, but he did throw for 4,600 yards, which is his most since 2015. So the guy consistently puts up passing yardage. He consistently gets the ball down the field. The problem is he has to do a better job at getting the ball in the end zone and not throwing interceptions. I think that with him being on the move to go somewhere else in the NFL, if it's Tampa Bay, he'll have a really good chance to put up huge numbers with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, which are 2 of the better receivers, best receiving core he would have had maybe in his entire career. He's had 7 game-winning drives, 6 fourth-quarter comebacks in the last 3 years. He's thrown 83 touchdowns, 42 picks. He's been a very, very solid quarterback. My number 9 quarterback in the NFL is Matt Ryan. Now, Matt Ryan has been a very good quarterback for quite a while now. Ever since he made the Super Bowl in 2016, he had a really, really good year there. But he's been very good almost his entire career, with the exception of his rookie learning season. He's hit over 20 touchdowns and at least under 17 picks or less. But these last 3 years here, 2018 to 2016, under 10 interceptions twice, over 30 touchdowns twice. 2017 wasn't that great, but he seems to be trending as an every other year has a great year quarterback. This year, 26 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, still 44-66 in yards, so always over 4,000 ever since 2011. Definitely puts up some gaudy numbers. 81 touchdowns, 33 picks over the last 3 seasons, 6 game-winning drives, 6 fourth-quarter comebacks, and averaging over 1.7 touchdowns per game and 0.7 interceptions per game. Still just a really good quarterback. The changing of offensive coordinators has kind of dwindled him down a little bit. He is getting a little old at 34 years old now, but still a really good quarterback. Lamar Jackson is my number 8 quarterback in the NFL right now. He has silenced a lot of doubters this year with the great year that he had, with 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and 3,127 yards passing. If you take that plus this little blurb of sample size that we have from 2018, where he also lost a playoff game, you can see that he has averaged 197 passing yards per start. I would like to see that get over 200 before I start giving him more credit, but he does have 1.91 touchdowns per start and only 0.41 interceptions per start, which means he's taking care of the football with his arm. The rushing, I am not really completely factoring into this. Obviously, I'm factoring into it a little bit. He is obviously a dual threat quarterback, but I'm not looking at like fumble stats or anything. I'm trying to gauge him as a pure passer, and he does have some work to do there. I would like to see him get some more yardage and move the ball down the field with his arm more than his legs, but he's still quite a valuable quarterback in this league. He's had 3 game-winning touchdown, or 3 game-winning drives, and 1 fourth-quarter comeback in his young career. One guy that I can't put Lamar Jackson quite over yet is Tom Brady. I know he's getting up there in age. I know this was one of his worst seasons in a while, but he still threw 24 touchdowns and he still only threw 8 picks. Obviously, that's not what we've come to expect from Tom Brady, but it was a better year than he had in 2013, where he threw 25 and 11. So for people to say Tom Brady is now over the hill, I would urge them to look at 2013, where he had 25 touchdowns and 11 picks. This year, 24 and 8. And I think he can still provide one of these seasons in here where they definitely went to Super Bowls and such. He still threw for over 4,000 yards this year at 4,057. The only time pretty much in his career is like 2010, 2006, and 2016, where he didn't throw these 4,000-yard years in the last like 10 years. The thing is, he has had 5 game-winning drives, 4 fourth-quarter comebacks in these last 3 years. He averages 1.77 touchdowns per game and only 0.56 interceptions a game. Guy really throws interceptions. 85 touchdowns, 27 picks. The numbers have just been consistent, and he's still Tom Terrific. This year is the first year that I am willing to put Deshaun Watson ahead of Tom Brady. Yes, before you call me crazy, let's take a look at the numbers. Deshaun Watson, 19 touchdowns, 8 picks, then 26 and 9. This year, 26 and 12. A little bit more interceptions. He's also had less yards this year than last year at 38.52. But if he can stay consistent around those numbers, he's looking pretty good. 71 touchdowns, 29 interceptions total in these 3 years. Remember, he was hurt this year and well on his way to possibly leading the Texans to the playoffs in this season. He probably would have ended up somewhere around 30 and 12 or 11, in my opinion. Still a very, very good season. He averages 1.92 touchdowns per start as well as 0.78 interceptions per start. But the one thing you really got to look about Deshaun Watson is the clutch performing. Obviously, he did this at Clemson where he won the national title over Alabama. But here with the Texans in these 3 seasons, he has had 10 game-winning drives and 8 fourth-quarter comebacks, which is better than 3 of the quarterbacks that I have in front of him on this list. But the reason the quarterbacks in front of him on this list are in front of him is because of the consistency and the better numbers that they put up. One of those quarterbacks I put ahead of him, and I feel is a very criminally underrated quarterback, not only in Madden, but in the public eye, is Carson Wentz. He has put up some incredible numbers since his rookie season, 2017, 33-7, 2018, 21-7, both over 3,000 yards. Both of these seasons he was a little dinged up at times. He's only had 40 starts in his career, but he has thrown 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions this year, over 4,000 yards for the first time in his career, maybe possibly trending upwards. I know 2017 he was on the way to possibly an MVP type season. 81 touchdowns, only 21 interceptions for him. Over 2 touchdowns a game at 2.03, better than Roethlisberger, less than only 2 more guys that I will mention, and averages 0.53 interceptions per game, which is actually only better than one guy that I am about to mention, but it is better than pretty much everybody I've previously mentioned outside of Lamar Jackson, who has the smallest sample size. He has also had 7 game-winning drives and 5 fourth-quarter comebacks, including 4 game-winning drives this year and 2 fourth-quarter comebacks, and this year was the one season that he was completely healthy all throughout. So, could that be something we see more of from Carson Wentz? I believe he led his Eagles to the playoffs, as the Eagles were the only team in the NFC East to defeat a playoff-caliber team. In fact, they did it 3 times in order for him to lead the Eagles to the playoffs. So I feel like he could definitely be the answer for them. They need to do better getting him a better supporting cast at receiver. Aaron Rodgers is going to be my number 4 quarterback in the league today. He's still an extremely high performer. I know a lot of people said that the Packers might be the worst 13-3 team that they've ever seen. And you know what? That is definitely not due to Aaron Rodgers. I know that Aaron Jones definitely came up this year and had a great season for the Packers, and I know that Aaron Rodgers really loved having that, but they still didn't have the receiving core or the defense needed to get the job done. The receiving core outside of Devontae Adams was piss poor this season. And Aaron Rodgers still put up 4,002 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions, which is right on par with his 2018 season and very, very, very close to seasons like 2015. And, 2010 was better than 2010, in my opinion. But the guy, there's a reason why he has Gambler as an X factor. The guy doesn't throw interceptions. This year was only made bad because he was hurt, and he came back at the end of the year to try to bring his team into the playoffs. Ended up throwing some really bad games at the end of the season to worsen these numbers. They were much better earlier in the season before he was injured, but the guy averages 1.72 touchdowns per game, only 0.31 picks a game, which is literally the least of anyone I've talked about, and obviously anyone in the league, because anybody worse is not really going to be up there. He has had 8 game-winning drives, 7 fourth-quarter comebacks in the last 3 seasons, so counting these 2 and this season. This season he had 3 game-winning drives, 2 fourth-quarter comebacks. Definitely is a guy that still puts the team on his back. Make no mistake about it, Aaron Rodgers is the Green Bay Packers. I thought about it a great deal, and I want to put Pat Mahomes at number 3 on this list. Yes, his 2018 first full season in the league was a tremendous year. 50 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, over 5,000 yards. It's a great season. This year, though, he did miss 2 games, but he was only able to put up 4,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 5 picks. So, if he plays 2 more games, I'm sure he gets under 12 picks, but he gets nowhere near 50 touchdowns still. But that being said, in 2 seasons of play, he has put up 2.5 touchdowns per game and only 0.57 interceptions per game. He has had some accuracy issues, especially this year. He did just win the Super Bowl. I'm giving him all that credit. He's had 4 game-winning drives, 3 fourth-quarter comebacks, 1 of each this season. So he is a part of a team that is generally in front in their games, not usually coming from behind. So that does play a factor, but he did do an awesome job of coming behind in this year's playoffs and the Super Bowl and everything. He just did an awesome job coming back. He is definitely an awesome quarterback, a true generational talent. I just still feel like I felt in 2018 that the sample size is just a little bit too small for me to call him the best yet. I want to see what he does next year if he brings up that touchdowns numbers again. 76 touchdowns and 17 picks in 2 seasons of starting is definitely impressive. I just want to see it continue for 1 more year, but he's definitely top 3 already, and he could be the most talented quarterback we've ever seen. At number 2, I'm going to go with Drew Brees. Now, Drew Brees, some would say he had quite a down year this year. Now, in passing yardage, he definitely did, but he missed 5 games. Missing 5 games, he still came up with 2,979 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 4 picks. That is incredible. That guy could have thrown 35 touchdowns if he plays them extra 5 games. There's no question in my mind about it. He's averaged 269 yards a game over the last 3 seasons, 1.95 touchdowns, and only 0.4 picks. That is an incredible ratio. He's had over 11,000 yards, 82 touchdowns, and 17 picks. It's just a big modicum of consistency. And he has had 11 game-winning drives and 9 fourth-quarter comebacks over the last 3 seasons. The guy leads his offense. He is a true leader. He has been extremely consistent since like 2007, 2006 when he joined the New Orleans Saints. He has just been an incredible player, and he's not really showing signs of dropping off just yet. A guy that I feel we've really seen the prime of his career, and we're still seeing it right now, is Russell Wilson, and that is why he is the number 1 quarterback on my list. Let's just take a look at this a little bit. So he was learning in 2012 to 2014. Of course, he was doing a great job making Super Bowls and whatnot against the New England Patriots. Then he had this 2015 year, which was incredible, 34-8. And then he moved into 2016 with 21-11. You know, the offensive line started to get worse, but he started to learn how to play with it. 34-11 and then 35-7. And you know what he did this year? 31-5. Cut his picks to the least he's ever thrown. Still threw over 30 touchdowns, and he threw for 41-10, which is number 2 that he has ever thrown in his career as far as yardage. Guy only averages 240 yards per start. I would like to see him get it up a little bit, but 2.1 touchdowns a game, under a half a pick per game at 0.48. 11 game-winning drives, 8 fourth-quarter comebacks. This year he had 5 game-winning drives, 4 fourth-quarter comebacks, completely led the Seahawks. He was the Seahawks. They had zero business being in the playoffs this year, but he took them to an 11-5 record and almost won the division over the 49ers, who ended up making the Super Bowl. Who knows if he did win that division and get that done, where we would have been at this year's playoffs. But Russell Wilson is clearly the quarterback that you want right now. He is on fire without an offensive line, without a star receiver, though he could have a future star receiver in DK Metcalf. We'll have to see. But the running game's not there, the offensive line isn't there, and the receiving core isn't there. This offense is run through Russell Wilson, and he runs it to perfection. He is my most incredible quarterback in the NFL today. Let me know if you agree. If you don't agree, at least be respectful in the comment section below. Let me know who you think are the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, and let me know how you would order them, but this is how I am doing it. If you want to see more lists like this, if you want to see a top 10 running backs, a top 10 wide receivers, let me know that in the comment section below. Also, let me know by dropping a ton of likes on this video and subscribing if you're new to the channel and can't wait to get more Madden 20 and future Madden franchise content. Take care, everybody. This is Franchise Gaming, where it's franchise content all day, every day, and I'll see you next time.
You're a pretty little star boy.